So start first.
Okay, fine. Topic of the neural control and coordination question discussion. Neuron as a structural and functional unit of a neural system. First, in that topic, the first concept is generation and conduction of neural impulse, transmission of impulse. Question number 35, students. Which of the following cells can detect, receive, and transmit different kinds of stimuli? So that we know that the stimulation can be received and transmitted only with the help of neuron. So neuron is involved in like what we call as conduction of nerve impulse. So the answer is B, neuron. A states about nephron. Nephron is found in kidney where it is involved in ultrafiltration. Neuroglia is a nutritive cells or nourishment cells of the neuron. Macrophage is a human cell where it is involved in the immune function or acts as a like they will be guarding the cells in a body. Question number 36. Nasal granules are not found in. Question number 36. Nasal granules are not found in. You know, the nasal granules are the structures where we will find in the axon. They are going to be found. They are not going to be found in the axon, where they are found in cell body and dendroids. Nasal granules. When you draw the, if you see the structure, NCERT structure of the axon, where we will find the nasal granules existing in the cell body as well as the dendrites, whereas nasal granules are not found in the axon. Question number 36, B is the answer, students. Question number 37. The axon is a long fiber, the distal end of which is branched. Distal end is branched. Each branch terminates as a bulb-like structure called the, you know, the axon terminals, where in the axon terminals they terminate with a like bulb-like structure, what we call it as the synaptic knob. Question number 37, answer is synaptic knob. D answer, students. Because dendrites are not in the distal end, they are on the proximal end of the axon. Nodes of Raney were nothing but the gaps which are present on the axon in between the squamous cells, what we call it as nodes of Raney. These are going to form a myelin sheath in a myelinated nephron. So question number 37, answer is D, students. The distal terminals of the axon terminals are called as synaptic knob. Question number 38, students. Read the following statement and find out the incorrect statement. So we need to find incorrect statement. Dendrites transmit the impulses away from the cell body to a synapse or neuromuscular junction. So this is incorrect. Dendrites are going to transfer the stimulations towards the axon, and axon is going to transfer to the neuromuscular junction. So statement A is wrong. Statement B, synaptic knob possesses synaptic vesicles containing chemicals called neurotransmitters. B statement is right. Neurotransmitters will be released from the vesicles at the synaptic knobs. Now see, based on the number of axon, dendrites and the neurons are divided into three types, that is unipolar, bipolar, multipolar. This is also right, students. Statement D, neural system is composed of network of neurons. This is a first hydra where it is going to show the presence of loose network, the first phylum to show the presence of neurons. So the answer here, the incorrect statement is A. Question number 39, match the columns 1 and column 2 combinations from the options given. Column 1 is unipolar neuron. So what is unipolar neuron? It has only one axon, no dendrite at all. So unipolar neurons in embryonic stage. Bipolar neuron, nothing but the neuron having one axon and one dendrite, where it will be present in the retina of the eye. Multipolar neuron, nothing but they have the many dendrites and one axon that is present in the cerebral cortex. So question number 39, answer is A is 2, B is 3, and C is 1, students. So answer for the question number 39 is C. Now question number 40, match the column 1 and column 2 and choose the correct combinations from the options given. Column 1, what they have given is unipolar neuron. So unipolar neurons, where we will find is cell body with one axon, bipolar neuron, one axon and one dendrite, then multipolar neuron, nothing but one axon and more dendrites. So question number 40, answer is C, students. Question number 41, Question number 40 answer is D, students. Now question number 41, squam cells are found in. So what are squam cells? Squam cells are the type of neural cells were present around the axon in a myelinated nerves as well as unmyelinated nerves. Both of them, they have a squam cells, but myelinated nerves will develop a myelin sheath as a result of squam cells. So question number 41 answer is the squam cells are present both in a myelinated nerve fibers as well as unmyelinated nerve fibers. That is, they both A and B have a squam cells. Question number 41 answer is C. Now question number 42, match the column 1 and 2 and choose the correct combinations from the option given. A is myelinated nerve fibers. Myelinated nerve fibers, what we will see is myelinated nerve fibers, it will be present in the cranial nerves as well as in the spinal nerves. Myelinated nerve fibers, nothing but what, students? We usually find in the central nervous system. Nerves are covered with the myelin sheath. This myelin sheath helps in insulating all of a neuron to channelize the neural transmit, that is message or stimuli, to move in a specific direction. As the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord contain billions of nerves where there will be complex network of messages will be passing through. These messages to reach the targeted site, nerves are myelinated in this site. So myelinated nerve fibers are found in cranial nerves, that is the nerves coming from the brain as well as nerves coming from the spinal nerves. Whereas unmyelinated nerve fibers, these are present in the peripheral nerves, that is somatic neural system and autonomic neural system shows the unmyelinated nerve fibers. So question number 42 answer is B, that is A3. A is 3 and 4, B is 1 and 2. Now, question number 43. Question number 43. Gaps between the two adjacent myelin sheath are called. Gaps between the adjacent myelin sheath cell, that is what we call in between the squam cells of a myelinated nerve, is called as nodes of Ranier. Node of Ranier is what we call it as gaps which are present between the squam cells of a myelinated nerve. We can see next picture where it is showing that is in between gaps. F is the what nodes of Ranier you can find here. This is what we call as nodes of Ranier. So answer for the question number 43, node of a Ranier. Now question number 44, recognize the figure and find out the correct matching. Question number 44, the labelings they have given here, students, you need to find the correct matching for the question number 44. What are A? A are dendrites. Now what are B? B is cell body. B is cell body. What about C? C is squam cell. D is axon. E is myelin sheath. F nodes of Ranier. So correct option for the above diagram and labels. Question number 44. C is the answer, students. Now question number 45. In resting condition, the concentration gradient is maintained by resting condition, nothing but what, students? Outside it is positively charged on the axolemma, that is plasma membrane tunnel, where outside it is positively charged due to the more sodium ion concentration, where inner side it is negatively charged due to the presence of potassium ion concentration. So the resting potential is maintained by sodium and potassium pump which is present on the axolemma. This is right. Active transport of ions will take place in between axoplasm and outside the nerve cell, and utilization of ATP energy. So question number 45, the resting condition, the concentration gradient, that is what is that concentration gradient? Outside more sodium, inside more potassium, that is outside more sodium. It is maintained by the all of the above, that is sodium potassium pump, active transport of ions, as well as utilization of ATP energy. Now question number 46. Question number 46, what it reads, students? The electrical potential difference across the resting potential, across electrical potential difference across the resting plasma membrane is called, it is what we call as, electrical potential difference across the resting plasma membrane, what we call it as resting potential. What is the resting potential? This will be outside positively charged and inner side it is negatively charged. Question number 46. Answer is resting potential. What is action potential? Action potential, nothing but here we're going to see the sodium ion gated channel will going to open due to the stimulation. Sodium ions will move from outer side to inside, and potassium ion will move from inner side to outside. That means to say, in action potential, outer side, that is extra cell surface of the exoplasm is negatively charged, intercellular phase is positively charged in action potential. So that is a site where we call it as neuro impulse will be generated, and that neuro impulse will be conducted through the axon. So question number 46, they are asking about resting plasma membrane potential. That potential we call it as resting potential. Now question number 47, during neuro impulse conduction, current flows. So this is an NCET diagram again, students. We know that the stimulation will alter the ion gated on the exoplasm, that straight line what we call it as axolemma. The ion gated channels which are existing here, stimulation will alter. Before to that they will be closed. All of these ion gated channels will be closed, and they will be maintaining the ionic concentration, outer side positively charged, inner side negatively charged. As the stimulation will open the ion gated channels, what happens, the sodium ions get diffuses into the exoplasm. So that is a site where inner side it gets positively charged, outer side it is negatively charged. So at this point, the impulse will be generated, and impulse is going to be conducted in a what are the way. Statement A says from site A to site B on the inner surface. So on the inner surface, site A to site B. Yes, because from positive to negative side, inner side what we can find is site A to site B, right? What about the B? From site B to site A, when the B site B to site A, it is outer surface. On the outer surface, what happens? Positive is towards the B and negative is towards the A. The charge will move from positive to negative. So from site B to site A on the outer surface, what we're going to find. So inner side conduction is site A to B, outer side conduction is site B to A. And this conduction will be in anti-clockwise direction. If you find it is in opposite, it is against the clockwise direction, that anti-clockwise direction the conduction will takes place. All of the above statements are right regarding during the impulse conduction current flows in the following, like from site A to B on the inner surface, site B to A on the outer surface in an anti-clockwise manner in conduction of the impulse, what it's going to take place. So question number 47, D is the answer, students. Now question number 48. Question number 48, a neuro impulse is dash from one neuron to another neuron through a junction called. So what it is, a neuro impulse is transferred or transmitted from one neuron to another neuron. So in between the neurons, what the gap is present, that gap is called as synapse. So the synapse is what we call as neural synapse, neuro junctions, which are what we call them as. So this a neuro impulse, statement one, we can read it as a neuro impulse is transmitted from one neuron to another through junction called synapse. Second statement is dash of an impulse across electrical synapse is very similar to impulse dash along a single axon. So first statement is a neuro impulse is transmitted from one neuron to another neuron through junction called synapse. What about the second statement? Transmission of an impulse across electrical synapse. You know, the students, there are two types of synapses are there, electrical synapse and chemical synapse. Electrical synapse are found rare in a life system, whereas chemical synapses are most common. That's how the nerve impulse will be transmitted between one neuron to another neuron. The gap present between the two neurons in an electrical synapse will be very negligible, whereas in a chemical synapse we can find a sufficient gap is present. So that gap is more in chemical synapse, whereas electrical synapse there will be no gap between the neurons. So that conduction of nerve impulse in electrical synapse will be similar to conduction of nerve on a single axon of a nerve. So how the single axon in such a faster way electrical synapse will takes place. So that's why the statement 2 we can read it as transmission of impulse across electrical synapses is very similar to impulse transmission along a single axon. So question number 48 answer is D, students. Now question number 49, synapses are of two types. Synapses, we know that just now, as I said, there are two types of synapses are there. What are those? Electrical synapse and chemical synapses. Electrical synapses are very rare, where in between the neuron, the gap is very less in electrical synapse. Whereas in chemical synapse, we're going to see the more gap, we're going to see more than the electrical synapse, the gaps will be there. And conduction of impulse is carried out by the neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine or GABA, what we call. So these chemicals will transfer the stimulations from one neuron to another neuron through this gap. That is what we call as synapse. So question number 49, synapses are of two types. What are those? B is the answer, two types, electrical and chemical. Question number 50, read the following statements and find out the incorrect statements. Question number 50, read the following statements and find out the incorrect statements, students. What are the incorrect statements? First is A. A synapse is formed by the membranes of a presynaptic neuron and postsynaptic neuron, which may or may not be separated by a gap called synaptic cleft. So here you need to find incorrect statement. So A is a correct statement. We know that what is synapse? Synapse is in gap between the two nerves, what we call it as a presynaptic nerve 1, and after the gap which is present is called as postsynaptic nerve. So in between the synapse there may be gap, may be present or absent. If it is less or negligible, then it is called electrical synapse. If the gap is there, then we call it as a chemical synapse. So statement A is right, students. Now statement B, at electrical synapse, the membranes of pre and postsynaptic nerve are in a very close proximity. Yes, as I said, there will be gap will be very less, almost it is negligible. At electrical synapse, the membranes of pre and postsynaptic neurons are in a very close proximity is a right statement. So statement A and B are right, students. Now statement C, electrical current can flow directly from one neuron into the other across chemical synapse. Electrical current can flow? No. As the electrical current cannot pass through from one neuron to another neuron in a chemical synapse, there is a gap present between. So this stimulations will be transferred from the presynaptic to postsynaptic neuron with the help of the neurotransmitter chemical. This neurotransmitter messenger will transfer the stimulation from one neuron to another neuron. So statement C is wrong, student. Now statement D, impulses transmission across a chemical synapse is always faster than that across the electrical synapse. This is wrong again. As I said, in the two synapses, electrical and chemical, which is a faster one? Electrical synapse is faster than the chemical synapse, whereas D says chemical is faster than the electrical. So statement D is wrong, students. Electrical is faster than chemical synapse. Question number 50, last statement what it reads is electrical synapses are rare in our system. Yes, the most of our body where will run on the chemical synapses. Statement E is right. So among the given statement, A, B, and E are right, students. C and D are wrong. So option for the 50 is C. Question number 50, C is the answer. Now, question number 51. During transmission of neuroimpulse, the released neurotransmitter bind to their specific receptor present on the, you know that the electrical impulse, or else the impulse transferred on the single neuron from the dendrite to cell body to axon, axon to axon terminals. So from axon terminal, what happens at the knob, the synaptic vesicles which are present, they get rupture, and through the these knobs, the vesicles get rupture and releases the neurotransmitters. So these neurotransmitters produced from the presynaptic membrane binds to the next neuron, what we call it as postsynaptic membrane. So dendrites of the postsynaptic membrane as the receptors for the binding of these neurotransmitters. So neurotransmitters transferred from the presynaptic membrane, they reach the postsynaptic membrane. So answer for the question number 51, B, postsynaptic membrane, students. Now question number 52, the binding of the neurotransmitter with the receptors opens ion channels, allowing the entry of ions which can generate a new potential in the, as I said, what the question states, when the neurotransmitter is produced by the presynaptic nerve, that neurotransmitter chemical will binds to the postsynaptic nerve and it will open the ion gated channels in a postsynaptic nerve and transfer impulses into the postsynaptic membrane. So question number 52, answer is postsynaptic membrane, students. Now, question number 53, the new potential developed in the postsynaptic neuron is, the new potential developed in the postsynaptic neuron. That is, after the message is transferred by the presynaptic nerve, whether it is reaching, when it reaches the postsynaptic neuron, whether it is going to be A, excitatory, B, inhibitory, C, either excitatory or inhibitory, D, neither excitatory nor inhibitory. We know that, students, nerves will, the nerves are interconnected and they're transferring message from one nerve to another nerve through the synapse. So these neurotransmitter messengers are of two types, as we have discussed in a previous class. One is excitatory type of neurotransmitter such as acetylcholine, which will excite, transfer impulse and make the certain function to happen. Or else we can find the GABA kind of chemical neurotransmitter where they can inhibit the process. So neurotransmitter released on the postsynaptic neuron, it can either excitatory or inhibitory. It can initiate the next nerve impulse or it can stop, terminate the process. So question number 53, answer is either excitatory or inhibitory in nature. Now, question number 54, students, the change on the outer side of neuron is, the change on the outer side of neuron during conduction. So what sorry, not change, it is what charge on the outer side of the neuron. The charge on the outer side of the neuron is positive, as I said earlier. Most of the sodium ions, so that always in the resting potential, exoplasm or exolemma will be positively charged on the outer side due to more of sodium ions and negatively charged on the inner side due to potassium ions. So question number 54, the charge on the outer side of a neuron is positive. Question number 55, this is NCERT structure. This is NCERT diagram, students. This is NCERT diagram, students. Question number 55. Recognize the figure and find out the matching. What are the labels are there? We need to mention the labelings. So what are the labelings we're going to find? Here A is axon terminal. A is a axon terminal. B, synaptic vesicles. C, presynaptic membrane. D, synaptic cleft, that is gap where it is present between the two neurons or nerve and muscle or in the neuromuscular junction. D is a synaptic cleft. E, if you find, it is a postsynaptic membrane, and F is a receptor present on the postsynaptic membrane. So right option for the question number 55 is D students. Question number 55, D is the answer. Now, question before going to the next question, we'll move to the next concept, students. Remaining questions you can discuss, you can read. Now we'll move to the next topic, that is central neural system. Central neural system, that is the structure of brain, that is central nervous system containing, it is comprised of brain and spinal cord. So in this concept, we'll discuss about question on brain and spinal cord. Now, forebrain, the brain, whole of a brain is divided into three parts. We know that forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Question number 86, which acts as the command and control system of the body? We know that the command and a control system of the body is brain. So answer here is a brain. Is a, because why? Because the brain has a command and control system. It can receive a stimulation, process it, and then transfer a message. So that's why we call brain as a control and coordination system. Question number 87, the brain can be divided into, what are the parts? Three major parts what they have given: cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. So these all are not the major parts. Cerebrum is the hindbrain, thalamus and hypothalamus the forebrain structure we're going to find. So question number 87, the right answer is three major parts are there. We know that the brain. What are those? Forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Question number 87, answer is D students. Now question number 88. Forebrain consists of. Question number 88. Forebrain is consist of. What are the structures we're going to find in a forebrain? Cerebellum. The first option it reads is cerebellum is not a part of forebrain. Then it's going to be wrong. Then pons, again it is not the part of forebrain, students. It's a hindbrain, where we will see amygdala, hippocampus, and a brainstem, where it's going to be a part of midbrain and hindbrain. So now 88D, forebrain consists of thalamus, hypothalamus, and cerebrum are the parts of forebrain. So thalamus, hypothalamus, and cerebrum are the answer D. Question number 88, answer is D, students. Now question number 89. Major part of human brain is formed by, we know that the major part of the human head is human brain is formed by the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the part of a forebrain where it is divided into left and right cerebral hemisphere, which are joined together by colasm. So this is the roof of the cerebrum, what we call it as cerebral cortex, which has a gray matter, and the inner side where it has a white matter. All these together, this major part of the brain is comprised of cerebrum. Question number 89, students, answer is A. Now, question number 90. Question number 90, recognize the figure and find out the correct matching. This is again NCAT diagram, labelings. You need to find, students. Recognize the figure and find out the correct labelings. So you'll try to find the labelings. What are the labelings? What is A here? A is thalamus. We all know that A is a thalamus, part of a midbrain. Then B is hypothalamus, which is present just below the thalamus. B is hypothalamus. What about C? C is midbrain. C is part of a midbrain, what all together, because it's showing the midbrain part. A is thalamus, B is hypothalamus, C is midbrain. D is a hindbrain structure. It is having hindbrain. D is hindbrain, and E is a brain stem. Brain stem, what it is going to be formed of both this cerebellum, pons, cerebellum, and medulla. E is a brain stem. So A is thalamus, B is hypothalamus, C is midbrain, D is hindbrain, and E is a brain stem. Question number 90, NCERT diagram, it is, students. Labeling shows correct labelings are found in the option B. Now question number 91. Cerebral cortex contains cerebral cortex, you know that cerebrum is divided into left and right. Cerebral hemisphere, the upper roof of gray matter where it consists of cerebral cortex, where inner side it has a white matter. So cerebral cortex consists of, what are the structures? Sensory areas, motor areas, B, C is association areas, D, all of the above. So cerebral cortex contains both the sensory, motor, associate them both together. So association area. So all of the above is answer, students. Cerebral cortex contains sensory, which can receive a senses from various sensory organs. And B is motor areas. That means to say it's going to send a messages to the various muscles in the body to perform certain function. Association areas, they can process the senses and keep them as a memory that can be now used for the future. So the cerebral cortex contain all of the above: sensory areas, motor areas, association areas. Question number 91, D is the answer, students. Question number 92, association areas, association areas as sensory in function, motor in function, B, C, sensory nor motor in function. So now D is neurosecretory in function. Neurosecretory, where we're going to find hypothalamus region as a neurosecretory cells. So it's not going to be association area. It's about association area where we'll find a cerebral cortex. As I said, it's not clearly sensory or nor it is clearly motor. Both it can perform sensory as well as motor function, students. So question number 92, C is the answer. Question number 93, which part of the brain is major coordinating structure? Which part of the brain is major coordinating center for sensory and motor signals? So we know this is what we call a relay center, that is both the sensory messages it will take and it can coordinate them. That means they can process them in association area and then they can transfer to motor signaling. So that is coordinating structure of the brain, what we call relay center, that is thalamus. Thalamus is the major part of the brain, can coordinate the sensory as well as motor signaling, students. So question number 93, thalamus is answered, students. Association area which can process the senses. Limbic system is involved in performing different functions. Limbic system is involved in controlling emotion, urge to the thrust and the like the angriness, different emotions. The limbic system, amygdala, where all these areas will be involved in controlling different system. Whereas hypothalamus consists of a neurosecretory cells. So question number 93, the major part of the brain which can coordinate the sensory and motor signals is thalamus, students. Question number 94, association areas are responsible for complied functions like. Association areas can perform what all the functions? As I said, association area will take sensory actions, sensory messages which are coming, which will process them and convert them into certain message for the motor nerves, as well as they can keep them in the form of memory. So association areas are responsible for compiled function like memory, communication, intersensory association, all of the above. So question number 94, D is the answer, students. So association area can perform memory, communication and intersensory association. Question number 95, hormones are secreted by. So that neurosecretory cells of the hypothalamus, where it will be controlling the posterior pituitary directly with the help of neurons. So that's why we'll read in the endocrine system, hypothalamus is one of the endocrine gland. So question number 95, hormones are secreted by neurosecretory cells of the hypothalamus. Neurosecretory cells of the thalamus, in the A option it is wrong, students, because the thalamus cells is called as the relay center, where it can coordinate between the different sensory action or sensory and motor actions. So that's why it is called as the relay center, where it will control various emotions. Hormone, then neurosensory cells of the thalamus is wrong. Neurosecretory cells of the hypothalamus is the right answer, where it is going to produce us hormones. You know, the mainly two hormones are produced in the hypothalamus. One is oxytocin, another one is ADH, or called as vasopressin. Oxytocin is responsible for the contraction of the uterus during the parturition process, and ADH is antidiuretic hormone, where it will be, regulates the fluid volume of the fluids in the body. So answer for the question number 95, neurosecretory cells of the hypothalamus is the answer, students. Question number 96, limbic system or limbic lobe is formed by, limbic system or limbic lobe is formed by, hippocampus is a part. Yes, hippocampus is a part of limbic system. Amygdala is also the part of limbic system. Hypothalamus is not a part of limbic system. Then outer parts of the cerebral hemisphere, they are not at all, because the middle part of the midbrain, where it is the forebrain, which is connected with the midbrain, where it has combined many of the parts, where they are going to form a limbic system. Limbic system is part of forebrain only. So not outer cerebral hemisphere, inner part of the cerebral hemisphere. Yes. So that is inner part of the cerebral hemisphere, hippocampus, amygdala, all these togetherly going to form a limbic system. So answer for the question number 95 is hippocampus. A, B, and E, students. That is C is the answer. Question number 96, answer is C. Question number 97, students. Along with the hypothalamus, limbic system is involved in. So hypothalamus secretes hormone and control many of the physiological functions. So along with this, limbic system is involved in, limbic system is involved in motivation, expression of emotion, emotional reactions, as I said earlier, excitement, pleasure, rage, fear. It's again NCERT statement, students, as well as sexual behavior. Cardiovascular reflexes, what they have given in 97D is the medulla oblongata, whereas some areas connecting with the cardiovascular reflexes. So 97, along with the hypothalamus, limbic system is involved in motivation, expression of emotional reactions, sexual behavior. That is ABC is the answer. That is question number 97. A is the answer, students. Now, question number 98. The midbrain is located between. Midbrain is located between what we will find between the thalamus of the forebrain and pons of the hindbrain. This is going to be right, students. Thalamus, midbrain is a thalamus is a part of what we will find forebrain, whereas the below the forebrain, where we will start with the midbrain, where this midbrain as thalamus of the forebrain, it is located in between thalamus of the forebrain and pons of the hindbrain, right? As well as we can say hypothalamus of the forebrain and pons of the hindbrain is also correct. So question number 98, the midbrain is located between A, that is thalamus and pons, as well as between the hypothalamus and pons. Both A and B is the answer, students. Question number 98, D is the answer. Question number 99, read the following statement and find out the incorrect statements. You need to find incorrect statements among all this. The ventral portion of the midbrain consists mainly of a 4 round swellings, lobes, called corpora quadrigemina. Corpora quadrigemina is not ventral part of the brain, students. A statement is incorrect because it is the part of a midbrain which is present on the dorsal side or inner side of the brain, corpora quadrigemina. So statement A is wrong because it is telling ventral portion of the midbrain. It is actually the dorsal towards the inner side of the midbrain. What we have, the four sides, corpora quadrigemina, where they can perform optical functions. So A statement is wrong, students. Now B statement, midbrain and hindbrain form the brainstem. Yes, brainstem where it is formed of some part of, that is midbrain parts, as well as the pons and medulla oblongata. Brainstem is the association between midbrain and hindbrain. So this statement B is right, students. Question number 99, statement C. Cerebellum consists of fiber tracts that interconnect a different region of the brain. So cerebellum is the part of hindbrain where it is acting as a connection between, it helps in connecting the forebrain, midbrain together. So this, it is not cerebellum consists of fiber tract interconnect different regions of the brain. No, it is helping in connecting forebrain with the midbrain, forebrain with the hindbrain. All these are held together. It brings about coordination between the forebrain and midbrain as well as hindbrain. So statement C is wrong, students. Statement D, the midbrain receive and integrates visual, tactile, and auditory inputs. As I said, the corpora quadrigemina is auditory input as well as a visual in as well as tactile kind of functions where it is going to perform. So question number 99, midbrain receive and integrates visual, tactile, and auditory inputs. Right, students. Then E, limbic system is concerned with the olfaction, that is the smell and autonomic response. Limbic system, the sense of smell it can perform. So statement among the question number 99, all the statements, statement A and statement C are wrong, students. Incorrect statements. Remaining all the statements are right. Now, question number 100. Cerebral cortex consists of the surface area. Cerebral cortex, what we call the surface of cerebral hemisphere, what we call it as cerebral cortex, where it is made up of gray matter, whereas the inner side of the cerebral cortex, where it is made up of white matter. So gray matter is the answer, students. Cerebral cortex consists of gray matter. Now, question number 101, the parts of brain. Ichere, that is aqueduct of Sylvius, is found between. If you remember in the class, students, we have discussed about the different types of ventricles. There are 4 ventricles which are existing in the brain. These ventricles are the cavities which are performing different processes as well as the nourishment kind of functions. So this iter or aqueduct of Sylvius is found between the third and fourth ventricle. It is aqueduct of Sylvius iter is found between the third and fourth ventricle. Question number 102. Cavity present in the spinal cord is termed as, the spinal cord has a cavity. This cavity is called as neural canal, where many of the nerves will be passing through this neural canal. So this question number 102, cavity present in the spinal cord is termed as neural canal. D is the answer, students. Now question number 103, unique about human is, 103, unique about humans is free and tool use, articulated speech. Humans are capable of joining words together and make sentences, or that's what we call it as articulated speech is the unique characters of human. Question number 104, students. Fourth ventricle of a brain occurs in. Fourth ventricle of the brain occurs in the medulla oblongata. Ventricles, it is not given in NCET, students, but we have studied in class. So the fourth ventricle of a brain occurs in medulla oblongata is the answer, students. Question number 105. Central nervous system is mostly made up of, central nervous system is mostly made up of only motor neuron and sensory neuron A, No, it is wrong because it has both motor neuron, sensory neuron, as well as association areas, association neurons, what we call it as. Then B, sensory neurons and association neurons. C, association neurons. Central nervous system is mostly made up of association neurons. Question number 105. Answer is association neuron, students. Question number 106. In cerebrum, auditory area occurs in. We know that the whole of the cerebral hemisphere is divided into frontal, temporal, parietal, and occipital lobes. So the frontal is for the intelligence and other kind of functions. Parietal is the video. Occipital is also a visual function, whereas temporal lobe is responsible for the auditory area of the cerebrum. Sir? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Okay.
The remaining questions we'll discuss in next session. Thank you.